Hey, what's up everyone? Foxy here, and today we're going to be talking about how to make money on the Merchants Guild. To make this fair, I started with a brand new character that had 0 rep with the Merchants Guild, so I could test it. I also used an off-meta build. I'm building some weird lightning god of squirrels. And as I was going along, I was like, let's see how far I get before I hit 1 billion. Well, I hit 1 billion. Well, it's 647 now, but I've spent about half a billion. Before I even got to corrupt, like I'm at 100 corruption on my monolith, so I've just got to empowered. Played a few empowered monoliths, and I'm already at the billions. Now, that's not that hard to do, especially if you know what you're doing. So this guy's going to front load the information, so you're not going to wait forever. We're going to use the simple stuff, and then we're going to go to the complex stuff, as I always do in my videos. First of all, I'm going to split it between how do you acquire the gear that makes all your money, and how do you filter all the gear that makes you money, so you're not spending hours looking through garbage and trying to sell it, because selling stuff takes forever if you do it the wrong way. So first of all, how do I find the good gear? Now, simple bit first. Most people know about imprinting now. Put your best gear in here. I've got a free LP Riverbend in here. I wouldn't recommend doing this. I got quite lucky getting this. It's only like 200 to 300 million though, which isn't that much these days. Find a good exalt, and I'll tell you how to do that. Put them in, because they drop way more often than something with free LP. And also for those blasters, tell you the red ring strat on how you get red rings. Put them in there. That's my plan anyway, to make some really, really big money. But this will work for those starting, and you can just ramp up and ramp up. So first of all, how do you get the gear? Well, the first thing I'd recommend is looking in the tree for all the things that say exalted. That's the simplest thing. Stack all these things. So champions drop exalts, lizards drop exalts, nemesis drop exalts, and then also grab this node here. It does make them a bit harder, but they also drop loads of runes and glyphs, so I'll explain why we want that for the red ring strategy later. And then obviously nail all the imprint areas. Now, this isn't the best tree you've ever seen. It's not going to blow your socks off. You're not going to write home about it, but this is an okay tree. There's loads of really good guys on YouTube on how to like min-max the tree, but this is one I've been testing. It's been doing fine by me so far, so if you want to use it, go for it. And I've also blocked off everything but runes and experience, just because I'm leveling a brand new character. But I'll probably block that off and just leave runes eventually, and I'll explain why in a little bit. So we've got the tree set up. Now what do we want to do with the monolith? So I'll go to monoliths. As I said, brand new character, just in 100 corruption, that's it. And what you want to do is you want to get the Lostwood Folly Woven Echo, stick it right in the middle of here, and then surround it with other Woven Echoes. Now, these can be mix and match. You don't have to do what I'm doing. For the beginners with the weaker builds, I'd recommend the Shrine map, the Forgotten Shrine timeline. Really, really good. It spawns tons of lizards, tons of champions, and all the shrines give you uber power. You can speed run them. Really good XP as well. And with the Lostwood Folly, what it will do is it'll put amber in all these maps so you can sustain your Woven Echoes and buy more of them. So Shrine is great. Gives you loads of exalts, loads of uniques. Another really good one I'd recommend is the Nemesis Tower if you want to farm like really specific high quality exalts, but that's better when you're getting like the tier 7s dropping early on in the game, where you're going to get like tier 6 and stuff. You probably just want shrines for stuff en masse. And then there's also a few other options that you can use, like the Barnacle King when you get a little bit further, which is loads of loot lizards, or the Unclaimed Troves, which are loads of troves. So basically, they'll drop all your exalts and they generate a ton of gear, and as you get going, you'll be able to sell that. Now, one last tip for the blasters out there. There's one more echo called the Collapsing Horizon. It basically lets you fight the Harbinger of that particular boss's timeline once you've defeated that boss, so you can just spam this Woven Echo, keep fighting the Harbinger for its loot rewards and the boss's loot rewards. Now, you might want to do this for, say, on the Void Bird one, the big birdie guy, that timeline. Basically, it drops World Splitter. It's a very valuable unique. So you can technically spam that Harbinger if you've got a good build over and over again, trying to get high LP World Splitters. So that's another option. And there's various other good ones that the Harbingers drop as well. So that's a way of farming Harbinger stuff for some high value gear as well. For the blasters out there, there's another strat, which is the red ring strat. So, and which is what I'm starting to do as we speak. Now, the easiest way to do this is have another character with Circle of Fortune. You go get some lenses, get the expensive lenses, and farm extended ruins. And then you move back to your Merchant Guild character to use those extended ruins. Now, on Circle of Fortune, and don't worry if you haven't got a character, we'll explain how to do it if you don't. Circle of Fortune, what you want to do is do exactly the same tree and just have ruins here as the only option. Make sure you get this. And you want to put all your prophecies into Runes of Ascendency, and you want to pick the prophecies that are like 10 to 15 ascendancies. Now, red rings drop between 300 to 400 runes ascendancies, and you get around 10 to 15 for your good prophecies. So you're looking at like maybe half a day's farming to get enough ascendancies to luck out on a red ring. So that's the way to do it in Circle of Fortune. The other way to do it if you're a Merchant's Guild is exactly the same setup, but you get the Cenotaph of Worlds, which is a Wave and Echo that has basically a ton of champions and stuff that drops lots and lots of runes ascendancy, and that's how you farm on the Merchant's Guild. And then you want to spam the runes ascendancy on your Merchant's character, because what you need is that red ring to be tradable. As soon as you get it, you put it in the sockets, and you start farming your unique drops and your champions, like exactly what you've been doing before for your exalts, and you make absolute bank. Okay, so that's how you generate some really good loot. So now we come on to the filters. So there's two ways of doing the filters: the hard way and the easy way. The hard way is for those people who don't want to use someone else's filter; they want to make their own. The best way I found of doing this is to go into something like max roll, and you can see this is the trade filter I've just produced. Doing this, it took ages. It's probably not worth doing, but if you really want to make your own, this is how you do it. You go into a site like max roll, you go to like their endgame and corruption tier list, you look at the S tiers and the A tiers, you look at what gear they've got, and you basically add sort of the higher LP versions of these gears onto your filter, like 1 LP, 2 LP uniques. And then you look at the exalts and you add like the tier 7 affixes of those exalts and maybe a combination of other stats they have on it if they're particularly good. Same with the idols. And you come up with basically the filter I created. It takes ages, but it is your own filter. The next way, which I recommend way more, is to use this site, which I'll link, called TSM, which basically they have created these really, really, really good designed trade filters that do all that work I just showed you, but way better than what I did, and makes these really complex filters that basically only show you the stuff that you care about. So what do they look like when you have them? I'll quickly go to that filter and show you. I've downloaded 2 of them right now. You start with the semi-strict and work your way up, basically, but I've just got the semi-strict here. And you can see it's super complex rules, but when you actually dig into them, they're not that hard to use. Some advice using this that I found: with the earlier loot filters, a lot of rubbish idols drop, and that's by design. What you want to do is look at those idols very quickly and make sure that the only ones you pick up are the ones that are max rolled. So let's say it's 17% is the max. You want to check that the top and the bottom affixes have hit their max rolls. So that'd be like 17% on one, say, and 20 out of 20% on the other, whatever the stat is that it's showing you, just to make sure that you're not picking up trash. And as you get higher up in corruption, you'll go up the levels of strictness of the filters. But I found this is an extremely good way of just saving you a load of time in filtering. So finally, for the people who really want to min-max their gold, I'm going to give you a little bit of crafting tips on how to like push that money even further. And I'm also going to put links to the TSM and max roll, all the things that I've talked about basically in this video, in the details below. So the next step, and this is actually on their Discord as well, they describe how to do this, is to do something called gambling with your items using havoc runes. So remember earlier I had in our weaver tree those runes. Not only are we going to pick up runes ascendants, we're also going to pick up havoc runes doing that strat I showed you earlier. So these 3 red ones here are for gambling. If I go to the item, the gambling items on this filter basically have one godly stat somewhere on the item that isn't exalted, isn't purple, and then a tier 7 of something else that is trash, right? So this one, we want to hit the anomaly, the +1 to anomaly, because that's worth a load of money, and not have the dodge. So what we do is then we gamble it. So if I go open up my trade window, stick this in here, and we put in a rune of hope, just so we save forging potential, because that's worth more the higher the forging potential. And then we gambo. Now, because I'm streaming this, it's not going to work, but let's have a hit. Okay, it didn't hit. Didn't hit. Didn't hit. Didn't hit. This is hurting me. This is hurting me. It didn't hit once. Typical. So this helmet's now worth nothing, but it could have been worth a lot. One final thing to just wrap this video up is a really quick way, because it's going to drop, especially in the earlier filters, it's going to drop anything exalt with a tier 7 on it. TSM have also made this wonderful Excel sheet, which I'll show you now, which is basically telling you how much each tier affix is for each Excel by item. So I went into helmet, I had the tier 7 helmet. I know I had dodge on it, so dodge is worth absolutely nothing. However, I could see that the anomaly was worth like 920,000 if I hit it. That's the starting price. So that's why I wanted to roll those havoc runes to see and hit the anomaly. And again, you can just check if you've got a good roll, right? If I found something that had tier 7 intelligence, I'd quickly check this sheet and go, yeah, that's worth money. I don't even need to like craft on this. I don't need to roll on it. Boom. And they update this sheet all the time. Again, I'll put a link to their website in the description and their Discord in the description. So hopefully that's been helpful. As I said, this is a brand new character. I literally didn't even get max on Merchant's Tree before I hit 1 billion. So this strategy works. If it's been useful, feel free to chuck me a like and subscribe. I still don't have an outro, so instead I'll just summon my lightning squirrels of doom. This build does not work. I'm trying to make it work. If I can make it work, I'll make a guide because it is kind of fun. Basically, all the squirrels cast lightning. It is good. Anyway, I'm rambling, so bye now. Bye. Bye.